if you feel like your left hand traditional grip is weak or cumbersome, or it lacks the stick control that you desire, maybe the stick control in your right hand is far superior to your left hand. Well, today we're going to talk about some exercises that you can do to help you develop that left hand so that it's stronger, so that it's not cumbersome, it's not slowing you down anymore, that you have stick control when you're doing double strokes and things of that nature. And we're going to talk about all the details of the mechanics of the specific left hand traditional grip that I'm going to show you today. All right, so let's dive in. Number one, let's play a little bit. All right, if you have your sticks and your pad out, let's just get moving, and we'll break down and talk a little bit more later. This is called the paddle drill. Your palm is straight up to the ceiling. You're holding the stick in your thumb, and I just want you to rotate and come back to the position here, right? So when you rotate, you'll notice that the arm is dropping down a little bit, and then it's coming back up to level. I don't want you to go higher than level. So down, level, down, level. Go slow for starters. I'm just getting used to that rotation. Okay. As you rotate, your elbow moves. When you're out, your elbow's here. When you're up, your elbow's here. So your elbow's moving, but it's actually a fulcrum right here. This is the pivot point of that motion, as well as a twist in your forearm. As that gets more comfortable, I want you to kind of throw it in with like just relaxation, like a flop, and then pull it back up. So relaxed, flop in, and a lift up. All right, that'll look a little bit like this. Again, you notice the arm is sort of shifting out for that motion. All right, so do maybe sets of 10, reset. If you have to reset after 5 or something less, that's fine too. But you're just keeping it comfortable. Don't do too many. Don't do 50 at a time. Do sets of 10, shake it out. I don't want you building too much tension in this part of your hand here from squeezing with the thumb, all right? But that's going to get the rotation, the proper rotation of the grip happening without worrying about all the other little details of where your fingers go and how the stick might be sliding around and stuff like that. So paddle drill, sets of 10, give yourself a break, do 10 more later. A great way to practice this is like, hey, wake up, do 10, have lunch break, do 10, right before dinner, do 10, right before bed, do 10, and you're gonna see some improvement throughout the day. But it doesn't have to be like a 20-minute part of your practice session during the day. All right. So let's talk about some details, some grip details, because there's a lot of different variations in the traditional grip, and I've become a little bit of a stickler for, I guess, the Bobby Thompson grip, as it's referred to. And there's some specific things, and the more that I've played and the more that I've watched other drum corps play or taught students that come to me with different habits of playing traditional grip, I think this is the #1 grip you should use, especially if you're playing rudimental drumming, right? Any sort of rudimental drumming. This is strong, it's controlled, and it's because of a few details in this grip. So let's break it down. Number 1, think about your fulcrum in your right hand. Wherever that fulcrum is on your stick, that's about where it should be in the webbing of your left hand. Okay? So we don't want it to be too far back here, then we're front heavy. We don't want it to be too far back here, then we're back heavy. So wherever that fulcrum is in the right, that's kind of where it goes there. All right. Next, you're going to make a T with your thumb and your pointer. All right. Thumb is straight up. The pointer wraps over the stick like this. Okay. Some different views for you. Next, these two fingers are going to go below the stick. This creates sort of the bridge or the sitting point for the stick. You can see it here. The stick sits on that finger. I like to have it right above the cuticle. And then the pinky is going to be curled back. Okay? That is the Bobby Thompson grip. Mostly this pinky thing. And pulling this pinky back is going to help keep this finger pulled back a little bit more. And that gives you more stability, especially if you're playing accents or things that are strong. If you're playing strong, this gives you a little bit more support. Oftentimes this finger slips forward on people and we end up over here. That's not as strong. It's a little bit of a weaker stance for our grip, right, if it's slipping in. So if you pull this pinky back, because of the way our tendons are connected, this helps connect that there. Okay. Bobby Thompson is credited kind of with coming up with that grip. And Les Parks did a phenomenal job of just helping him promote it. Les Parks was teaching a lot of drum corps. He graduated from Juilliard in 1950, and he wrote books, and he was teaching some of the best drum lines in the world. He started, at the time, the best drum line in the world in 1947. It was called the Sons of Liberty. And him and Bobby Thompson played on the line together along with tons of other just legendary drummers like Nick Attanasio. John Pratt played with them for a while. It was just a drum line full of drum champions from the states they lived in, national champions, and they came together and played. So they promoted this grip because they wanted all those things we just talked about. They wanted a little more control, they wanted a little more strength, they wanted the rotations to happen properly in this stick, and to not lose control of that stick with these fingers sliding out and things like that, which we'll talk about. Okay. So another weird thing about this grip, well, not weird, but something that's maybe a little bit different than what some of you might be doing, is this finger is on the top instead of the thumb. A lot of people will play traditional grip like this with the thumb controlling the stick on the top. Okay, but they put that finger on top, and it does a few things. Number one, when you're striking the drum pad, your palm should be in this angle. It's sort of like you're reaching out to shake someone's hand. All right, that's where you want your palm to be. So if your hand is that way, your finger here, your pointer, is on top of the stick. If you rotate this so your thumb's on top of the stick, your palm is now in a more upward position. Okay? And I watch a lot of people play like this. And if your palm is already sort of rotated up when you're striking the drum, then you only have about this much rotation left of the stick before you're maxed out and have to lift your arm. You only have about this much rotation left. Try it for yourself. But if your finger's on top when you're striking the stick on the pad and your palm is this way, you have this much rotation left. That's a good bit of difference right there. So you're getting a more full rotation out of your stick to do it this way. You also have something that's sort of stronger and more stable on top of the stick. And that's so you don't have to use muscle strength to throw that stick in. This is sort of just locked in, and it can be in a relaxed position, but provides stability. Okay. Some other details. When you're gripping the stick, there should be no light coming through your fingers. Oh, I got a little bit there. You don't want to see too much light. You don't want this, essentially. That gap right there. We don't want it. All right, and that's the other thing pulling this pinky back helps with. It helps get rid of some of that exposure there. Okay? So when you strike the drum, your palm is flat to the wall. Okay, flat to the wall. It's not flat this way. It's not flat to the ceiling. And this brings us to our next exercise. Okay, so this is very similar to the paddle drill, but now our fingers are on the stick. Middle finger just straight up like that. It's providing support for the stick so it doesn't move this way too much. And you're going to do this paddle drill rotation where you're going up to the palm is to the ceiling and then down So the palm is to the wall. Okay? And when you do that, elbow, all this motion is the same. So that paddle drill sets all of that up for you. And you're just going to drop it in and full rotation to the ceiling with your palm up. And you can do it full speed, but with time in between. This one you can do a little more than the paddle drill. You could do this for 10 minutes if you wanted. You're not really going to build too much dangerous tension in your hand. The other way to do this is very slow. And then up. And when you start, I suggest doing it this tempo. So you can really check, is your palm to the wall? And is your palm to the ceiling? You're also developing this muscle memory in here of out and in. For beginners, this motion might feel like it causes a little bit of tension, but as you do it, it builds strength and you're building a new, almost a flexibility in the way you play. Okay, so this is your first exercise. Super duper slow, and a full speed drop and a lift, but stopping in those positions. Okay? Exercise number 2, we're going to get the arm involved a little bit now. So from here, if we want the stick to get up higher, like to me this is just like good forte playing. If we want the arm to get higher for like an accent, when we do a big rudiment breakdown like up here, we need to be here. And we're going to start slow. You're going to bring the arm down, keeping the palm to the ceiling, elbow into your side, and then you're going to rotate out. This one you're going to do slow for a very long time. You're going to bring it back up, elbow comes into your side, palm is to the ceiling, and then this elbow here comes across the body and the stick comes back up. This is a full stroke with a traditional rudimental style of playing. Now, this position is not an easy position to get into right away, but it will be, okay? In other parts of my life, I'm sort of into some athletic things. So I do a lot of listening to podcasts on people that are sort of top of their class as far as athletic goes, and there's some interesting books out there too. For example, check out Zen Bow, Zen Arrow. Don't remember who that's by. Or Zen and the Art of Archery, okay, and that's by Eugene Hergel, Herrigel, and it's about Japanese archery, traditional Japanese archery, and they use very long bows that are incredibly hard to pull back, and it's just a story about a German reporter who went over to Japan to write an article on this, and he ended up staying for 6 years, left his family and everything, his kids, his wife, and studied this way of archery for 6 years because he couldn't understand and wrap his mind around how these apparently looking skinny, scrawny gentlemen were pulling back these massive bows with tons of tension on them, but yet looking completely relaxed, right? So when I read that book, I think about this part of my playing because when I started, this was a position that was difficult to hold. But now it's not. And it's one of those things where you put the time into it. If you want to get your arm to that full stroke, if you don't want to, if you don't have reason to be playing this high, that's okay. Leave that part out of your training if you don't ever see yourself needing to get a full stroke in. But it gets easier, right? If we look at Tai Chi, and you're standing in these low stances and doing slow movements, your legs are probably burning. They are, because I've done it. They can be just burning, and you're shaking, and then a master in front of you is just flowing like water. Like it's absolutely nothing to them, but they've developed that strength. So a strong muscle is a relaxed muscle, and a strong muscle is a flexible muscle. All right, if you listen to like Pavel Tsatsouline talk about bodybuilders and like power lifters and Olympic lifters from the 80s, he talks about how incredibly flexible some of those people were, and how that kind of works hand in hand. So right here, we're going to build strength in some muscles we haven't used. How often do we use muscles that bring our elbow across our body? So we're just strengthening them. And the best way to strengthen them is just get it into that position, hold it, and then bring it back down. Just doing this slow exercise is all you need to build that strength, which will then result in flexibility and in relaxation. So up, 1, 2, 3, 4, touch, check the elbows out and relaxed. Then we're bringing it back in, rotate, palm to the ceiling, and then it comes up and across the body. Okay, so this is your second exercise. As it gets more comfortable, you're just going to do a natural drop. And when you drop it, I want you to think about the elbow coming out. Boom, that's what I want you to think about, and everything else will kind of flow with it. On the way up, I want you to think tip of the stick first, elbow in. Tip up, elbow in. All right? So we want to practice it at that full speed to get rid of any sort of hitch with the palm up and then coming here. We don't want there to be a hitch. Okay, we want to smooth that out. All right? So those are the basics. Those 2 exercises will take you super far with gaining just proper motion. If you are struggling with things like the stick wobbling around, maybe consider pinky back. My teachers when I was younger taped this pinky. They took electrical tape and would tape it down because it's, again, not a natural thing, but when you pull this back, this finger sets up a strong base. Okay. This is a style of traditional grip that I use. If I play drum set, I relax a lot of that. I'll put my thumb on top a little more, and I'll kind of keep the palm up a little bit, and I do different things with drum set. So feel free to do that too. But my rotation is not as good. And sometimes these more deliberate, bigger motions will transfer to having better, more relaxed, smaller motions, even if you're going to then alter some of the strictness of this grip. All right. But my teachers are lineage from Bobby Thompson and Les Parks, and even some of them played with them in the Sons of Liberty. So I have sort of a passion for keeping these traditions alive because this stuff isn't written in books anywhere. It's just passed down from generation to generation. And through all of my playing and tribulations and trials of different ways, I came back to this as just an easy way of playing with all the qualities of music that I want. So another exercise, bounces. How do we get bounces happening? We're talking about Bobby Thompson grip, finger on top. I just want you to drop the stick. Now when you drop the stick, these bottom fingers come off. Check it out. When I drop it, get a closer look. They come off, right? Check that out. See how they come off? I pull them down, right? If the finger stays here, the stick's not going to bounce. But if it comes down, the stick is free, and now it can bounce. All right, so we're looking for that freedom. We don't want that there, because that's not going to give you freedom, but when it comes down, now the stick has freedom. So it does these little, the stick's gone, it does these little drop down, bounce, bounce, grab, bounce, grab, bounce, grab. So bounce, control, right? Bounce, control, bounce, control. So you can practice that, get those fingers moving. All these little details matter, okay? So now when you drop it on a pad, you're thinking about that. You're gonna drop those sticks down, just let it bounce 4 or 5 times. If it's not bouncing well, then think about where that fulcrum is, maybe shift it. Now it's not gonna bounce good. Now it's not gonna bounce good. Okay, but everything is the same with the fulcrum in the right spot, palm to the wall, pointer finger on top, pointer finger pulses the stick, right? That's gonna help pulse it. Bottom fingers drop down, do 5. Yep, good. You'll notice when I do this too, I separate my thumb and my pointer a little bit. That's okay for this exercise. When you're playing full speed, you're going to try not to. So if you really want to, something you can do is you can rip off a little piece of paper or something. I don't know if I have anything right here. Rip off a piece of paper, hold it between those two fingers, don't let it drop, to make sure that you're not letting go of that. That's for another exercise, but for this exercise, I want you to get used to this moving with the stick and what that feels like. That's step one. Notice the elbow as I do this, it just comes out, maybe even exaggerated a little bit, just to find out what happens if you do. How far is too far before the stick doesn't bounce as well anymore. And then put the paper between and try to do it without it separating. Okay, so that's it, and then limit it. Give yourself counts. So say 3 bounces only this time. Up, 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 up. Bounce, control, bounce, control. Watch the bottom fingers. Bounce, control, bounce, control, bounce, control, bounce, control. 2 bounces. Watching those bottom fingers, they drop off, drop off, drop off, drop off. All right? So those are the main exercises that are going to get you feeling better about how your stick is controlled with your left hand. It's going to make your left hand stronger. It's going to make your left hand faster. And we'll just start taking those exercises and building it into all of the other practice you do. Now, some final things to talk about. Your setup. You'll notice my pad is tipped, but it's not just tipped this way, right? That's one of the directions it needs to be tipped, but it also needs to be tipped away from you. So it's this way and then away from you, and you get something like that. This is really important. We're talking about angles of the sticks now. Whatever the distance is from the rim to the bottom of the stick is what you want on this side too, from the rim to the bottom of the stick. And that's so your beads are hitting with the same area and the same amount of bead on both sticks. We don't want this bead playing on the tip, this bead playing on the body of it. We want them to be hitting in the same spots so your sound is even. Okay, so tipping it away from you as well as angled helps. What isn't going to be good, and I see a lot of people doing this and I don't understand why. Well, I guess I do understand why, but it doesn't make sense to me if you're going to play healthy. Flat drum, playing traditional grip on it. I think if your drum's going to be flat, you could be hurting yourself. All right, because now, flat drum, my sticks are not at the same angle, so your sound will not be as good. So one thing they do get around this is they raise the drum a little taller, right? So my drum's as high as it goes. I'm going to go down. I'm going to lower myself to the drum. So you play with the drum a little bit taller, and that helped that angle a little bit, but it's still not great. This stick is still higher than this stick. So they get their elbow out and raise it up. And then you're playing like this. And a lot of these people will also turn the palm a little bit this way. So the palm is now up. And I'll tell you what, those old dudes, Bobby Thompson, Les Park, they probably would have dropped their cigar ashes in the palm of your hand if you did that. So this is not healthy. This shoulder is higher than this shoulder now. This elbow's way up here, causing a weird tension because this is relaxed, this is not, right? And you could argue, hey man, Zen bow, Zen arrow, you'll get used to this, and you might, okay? But the shoulders are usually elevated still. So there's not an equilibrium in your body at this level of your shoulders when you do this. And then you have to alter this, so then you don't have some of the strength that you have here. But you'll see the chicken wing arm a lot. I don't think it's super healthy. A lot of people that I know that play this way, super high flat drums, they end up having some sort of shoulder issues. They end up having sometimes a tendonitis or a carpal tunnel situation in their hands. And some of the people I've talked to know it. I say, hey man, why are you doing this? And they go, well, I don't need to play forever. I just need to play really good right now, and that's how my drum line is playing. So hopefully you're not in that situation, because that would be a difficult thing to decide. If I have to play with this group, if I want to play with this group, I have to play with this grip. so we all look unified. All right, so hopefully you're not in that situation, but it's something you might see out and about and around in the interwebs if you're looking. So that's what's going on with that. Okay, a lot of these modern marching drums aren't designed in a way where the drum can tip very much, and if you do try to tip it, you get a little bit and it's okay, but then the drum is off-centered, so it starts like popping up, or you're walking and it's like unaligned on your hips because the center of the drum isn't centered with your body. So it's a sticky situation, but you want the pad tipped this way and this way for the best, most natural, everything's balanced and aligned way of playing. All right, so that's my stuff on traditional grip for you. I hope it helps. Drop a comment, let me know what you're interested in. This video was made because some people put in there like, hey, I need help with my left hand grip. All right, so I'm here to serve you. I want to help you play better and play with more ease and just transform your music so you can just pick up your passions and have fun. So subscribe if you're not, so you don't miss any more, and let me know what you want to see. All right, keep drumming, have fun, see you next time.